I am having so many issues with this Facebook Live thing. I don't know what it is. I apologize for that. All of a sudden it said my video had been paused. So I'm hoping I put the comment in there from before to let y'all know that it had been paused. And now we're back. And I hope this problem goes away. I don't know what it is. But anyway, we're back. Okay. Okay, hi everybody. We're just, this shit happens. What are you gonna do? It's Sunday. Listen to the song, it'll make you happy. Okay, when it comes to cyber stalking, there are so many aspects about it, like I was saying, that first of all, that if this is happening to you, you don't have a lot of resources to help you. Depending on the state that you live in, you might have close to none, right? Like where I used to live, or you might be in a state that's super, super ahead of the times, right? That's something that is dependent on the state you live in. I will say that why my situation was so completely horrible was that although I was living in Arizona, and this is all public stuff, so I mean, come on, it was in the paper, this is all public stuff. There's no hiding shit here. But my ex/stalker/narcissist lived in Wyoming, where I used to live. The case was transferred there, right? And I'll tell you about what exactly this case was. That was the nail in the coffin, because Wyoming doesn't, speaking to all of you who have any power in Wyoming, can you please do something about this for the women who live there? Because y'all really need to catch up to the times when it comes to taking care of women in these domestic violence situations. There, said it, okay, do something about it. But because Wyoming didn't even have cyber stalking laws on the books, there's no even laws there. So he couldn't be charged with anything, right? Unfortunately, I am not going to speculate on anything beyond that. Unfortunately, it was moved to Wyoming. Therefore, there was no justice for me to be had, and he got off with a slap on the wrist. And I'm pretty sure that he also got away with hiding this from everybody, not knowing what he was doing. If the case would have stayed in Arizona, he absolutely would have been charged with at least a couple felonies. Here's the reason why, okay? I'm just gonna sum this up really quick. And the reason I'm telling you the details of this, of what happened to me, is because if you're healing and recovering from a narcissist, and he, she, change pronouns if you need to, and he is to any degree stalking you, whatever degree that is, you need to times it by 5, okay? Because that's just what you know about, right? Unfortunately. I don't want to scare you, but being scared is something that you just have to live with the reality of what's going on. And the reason that you want to know actually what's going on, you want to find out exactly what's going on, is then you can do something about it, right? Okay, so I had found out, so I left, trying to start the healing process, recovery, and I'm 3 states away, people, right? It's not like you live down the street from me. Doing my thing, trying to start my life, whatever, going through that process. Wasn't fun, anything else. And then about 2 years after I left for the second and final time, I found out that, and this is 2 years after, right? That entire time he had, and when I say cyber stalking, I don't even have time here to tell you the depth of what he did, but suffice it to say, it came down to a 5-page spreadsheet that was discovered that he had made on his computer. And the reason that I'm telling you this is because I want you to know the extremes that a narcissist will do, and the crazy that you're, these crazy mentalities that you're dealing with, right? So this 5-page spreadsheet not only included every single online account I had, whether it was banking, email, credit cards, PayPal, Facebook, passwords, all my everything. Then it also included personal information. Now, there was a lot of personal information, obviously, he knew about me, but there were things he did not know specifically, for example, that he had on this. Why he needed this information, who knows? Maybe he needed it. Maybe he was trying to guess other security questions, answer stuff like that. But he had personal information that at the time scared the holy bejesus out of me, because it was things like the license plate numbers on my parents' cars, not only the date that my parents were married way back in 60 something, but also where, and also the date that they applied for a wedding, what do you call it, certificate, right, to get married. Who needs this shit? I didn't even know this stuff, so there's no way he knew that. My grandmother's on my mother's side, who has never left Germany and died before, way before I was born. Anyway, this kind of personal information, that was the scary part. The other scary part was that because I was used to, I knew enough of what, like I said, when I found that he was taping all my landline calls, right, when I was with him, and he was changing my passwords and intercepting Facebook messages. So I knew what he was capable of. So one of the things I had been doing just to take care of my, just to protect myself, because I knew he would try to hack into my email. So before I even found out he was cyber stalking me, this is what I did. I had created a new email, and I created an email that there is no way in hell he could have guessed it. It was just it was totally random. The password likewise was totally random, right? He had that. He found it out. I don't know how to this day. I worked with Apple fraud. I worked with professionals and cyber experts and cyber private investigators. Nobody could figure out how he got this information except for maybe getting it from a third party or whatever. That part I didn't want to get into. I didn't want to spend my energy because it was traumatizing enough just to know that he had this information. The other thing that I did before I found out he was doing this was that I had, on, like bank accounts or credit cards where they have those security questions and security answers that you figure out, right? So I created an alias. I didn't base him on me, Suzanne. I based him on an alias of me, like another person. So I would put questions like, I would pick the questions like, what was your first pet's name? And I would make up this alias, this pet's name, right? So I did this with many security questions and answers. And I made answers very, very difficult. And, I'm actually quite good at it. So if anybody needs help with passwords, I'm like super good at it. Okay, he had it all. He had everything. He had been, once this all came to light, and once he started being investigated, I also found out that he had been hiring a private investigator. Again, he's 3 states away. This is 2 years later. Okay, this isn't like we're, no, this is, he was living in another state and he hired a private investigator to follow me. My God, there's so much. I do not want to bore you. Oh my God, there's so much. When he would come down here once a month to visit our children. Who would be in school during the week? Where was he? Following me around, seeing what I was doing. He intercepted, because when I, like the first year that I left, it was also a financially abusive relationship, which is a topic we will will have before this is all over. So when I had escaped, I was in huge credit card debt. And when I was, living on my own, came back to Arizona, I only had one credit card. It was maxed out. So and he wasn't helping, it was like, there were a couple incidences where my middle son needed to get glasses. I called him from Lens Crafters, and I'm like, this is how much it's going to cost. I have, I don't have any money in the account, and my credit card's maxed out. And he gave me the lecture of how I should have budgeted for this. There was another issue where I was in the dentist office. My kids got their teeth cleaned. My card, I used my checking card. That was declined. Oh my God, I was mortified. Same thing, should have budgeted for it. Thank you to the dentist office, though, that let me, bill me later for that. Anyway, so I got a new credit card I didn't tell him about. I applied for a new credit card. Because at this time, we're still kind of communicating because of the kids and stuff like that, and visiting, all that stuff. I got a new credit card. Never came in the mail. I asked him about it. I said, oh, did it actually come to our old address? Or where he was still living, but where I used to live with him in our big, huge house. No, he hadn't seen it, Okay, so I called the credit card company, and I got another, and I said, I never received this in the mail. So they said, okay, send you another one. Sent me another, never received it. Called him again, said, that's really weird because they said they're sending it to my Arizona address. So, and you haven't seen it. Nope. So once this all came out, and I can tell you people this, you know why? Because later on he admitted it. Yeah, he emailed me and admitted it. But what he had done was call the credit card company, impersonated my voice. And I know you're going to say, how does a man do that? I'll tell you how in a minute. And he doesn't like when I tell the story. And close it without my knowledge. Okay, why this isn't considered identity theft, right? Or fraud in Wyoming, people Wyomingites, okay, get with the program, right? That somebody's allowed to do that. He admitted it. The credit card had his voice on record, right? This happened. Anyway, yes, he sometimes when he would go through drive-thrus and order food, they would say, can I get you anything else, ma'am? So he had a voice that could potentially sound like a woman's voice. Anyway, all these things are going on, and then the culmination is that I find out about this. I go to the police. They transfer the case to Wyoming. Worst thing that could have ever happened to me, because then I get a prosecutor who she literally said to me, I know it's kind of creepy what he did, but has he broken any laws, right? Okay, here's the other law that he broke and why I was on the front cover of the Arizona Republic. Is because he opened up a fraudulent account in my name with LifeLock, the identity protection company. So LifeLock is thinking that they're protecting Susana Quintana's identity, right? So they're sending her alerts and saying, hey, somebody looked into this, blah, 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 blah. So this was happening for 2 years after I left him. I wasn't getting anything. He was intercepting. He was getting those alerts, right? Because he had put in his email. So if I got a new cell phone, if I opened a credit card, if I had a credit check, let's say like when I went to lease a car or whatever else, he got the alerts, so he knew exactly what I was doing. This is identity fraud, right? That's a felony, but not in Wyoming. Okay, here's the effects of what this did to me. It ripped my life apart. It stole my life from me because the process of finding all this out until about 1.5 years later, when I had gone through all sorts of, I had restraining orders and criminal investigation and 3 lawyers in 3 different states, and talking to the FBI and talking to the people here in Arizona where I had a police commander tell me that my life was in danger from somebody like this, right? I had the psychologist that diagnosed him tell me that I couldn't be too safe, right? So this is the mental state that I'm living in. This is during the time I was diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety, and I just holed up in my house trying to make it through. The other thing that my ex did is because he somehow kept hacking into my email, so he saw the emails that I would send to my lawyer during the divorce. So he was always one step ahead of me. It got so bad that during the next year after this story came out, when everything was coming to a head. Oh, the funny thing is that so when he was being investigated, and he was first questioned by the sheriff up there. And I told you some of this a little while back, as far as it goes back to that smear campaign, right? And he told the sheriff that, well, he told him about me first, that I was emotionally unstable and suffering from depression and crazy. I don't even know what else he said. I'm sure he slipped in there that I left him and stole his kids and took him for another man, and that was the narrative he was spinning. But the funny thing, that what was printed in the paper was that he couldn't comment as to the charges because I had waged a harassment campaign against him. So that's why he couldn't comment. I was interviewed by Good Morning America, by the CBS Early Show, by USA Today, by Univision. My story went all over. So this took its toll on me because I needed to hole up inside my house, but even in my house, I wasn't safe, right? Even in my house, because every time I open this computer, and I'm going to give you some tips in a second, as far as when people go to tell you, shit like, well, just go buy a new computer. That was the worst thing somebody could tell me, because I'm like, you're telling me. And then I also had a police officer tell me that I should go back to the old school way banking, right? Where I just take my deposits in and, and do it all in the bank and don't do anything online, right? And so for a while there, I was in this place of, so let me get this straight. This person is doing these horrible, insidious things to my life. He's stealing my life from me. And you're telling me that the only thing I can do about it is to where it's going to affect my life negatively, right? So it's all up to me. You talk about victim blaming. This is victim blaming at its finest, right? That it's all up to me to prevent him. Get a new computer, get offline, right? Don't email anybody anymore. Write letters in the snail mail. It got so bad that for about an entire year, when he would come down every month to be with the kids, and because of what I had been told by these experts, that my life was in danger, that I needed to I couldn't be careful enough, and knowing that I had been followed, so every day that I went out, I didn't know if I was still being followed. So it got so bad that when he would come down and take the kids for a week every month, I would go sleep at my mother's home, because I was afraid to be alone in my own house, right? Because I didn't know if he was capable of that, what was he capable of? The thing about all this is that with stalking and cyber stalking, if this is happening to you, hopefully you live in a state that is not Wyoming. And I don't know if any state is as bad as Wyoming is. But hopefully you live in a state where you can have more recourses. I will tell you that to empower yourself, one of the things that I did that I would not let go of is that, and unfortunately I did not have a good lawyer to advocate for me in Wyoming, which was also my divorce lawyer, right? So I was up against this outdated machine, both their criminal justice system up there and the court system. I was going against this outdated machine that could not catch up to the times, right? They didn't, like I said, they didn't even have laws on the books. So I ended up, once that he, you know, they just offered him a plea deal where he got off with literally a slap on the wrist. I think he had to pay a fine of $100. That was it. Oh, and then this is a good one. He had to promise not to cyber stalk me anymore. He had to promise. Right. That stopped him. Right. I'm sure he's not doing any of that anymore. Right. Okay. That's the terrible thing about cyber stalking, is it's so hard to catch. It's so hard to prove, right? I was lucky. I thought I was lucky because I had all this incredible proof. I had this spreadsheet. I had witnesses. I had a credit card company. I had LifeLock on my side. You know, I had all these, what would have seemed like a super, super strong case. No, zero justice, right? So advocating for yourself, you know, don't let that stop you from moving forward and holding your stalker accountable, right? I took it to the end as far as I could. I took it to the state bar. I took it as far as I could, right? I finally realized that I was not going to get justice within the Wyoming criminal justice system, within their courts. I wasn't going to get it. I tried every avenue there was. I wasn't going to get it. So now I'm talking. That's what I'm doing. And I'm writing and I'm talking and I'm bringing awareness to this shit because it needs to stop, right? Before it gets any worse. So wherever you are, and whatever, you know, to whatever degree that you are being stalked, cyber stalked by a narcissist, please don't give up. I know the doors are going to close on you, and kick them open again, and just take it as far as you can to hold, because that's what we have to do, right? We just have to keep kicking those doors down until somebody is having success, right? I didn't have success. That's okay. Somebody someday is going to have success, and we're going to get stronger laws against cyber stalking. Okay, so some of the things you can do, this is super, super important. And again, I did all these things. Just, you know, I would have had a good ending if we would have stayed in Arizona. That's all. We'll just stick it with that. A couple of the things you can do. If you are on social media, on Facebook, and like I said, he was getting into my messages between me and my oldest son because he wanted to know what we were talking about. Somehow he even had my oldest son's password to Facebook, so he could get into that. If you're on social media and you are in a position where you want to be anonymous, I have had women who I'm friends with under their alias. Okay, if that's how far you want to take it, just create an alias on Facebook. If you want to talk, or if you want to, whatever it is. I've had many women do that. I didn't want to do that in my case because I'm a writer, and this is what I do now. This is my purpose. So the last thing I was going to let him do is to silence me even more. So I don't hide from anything. I welcome it. Now I welcome it. Narcissists, and your flying monkeys, you're welcome. Enjoy your stay. But if you're in a place where you want that anonymity, don't say that after drinking. Do an alias if you want. Otherwise, block, 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 block. Right? Unfriend, unfriend, unfriend. Anybody around, not just the narcissist, because we talked the other day about the smear campaign and how they get people around them, right? So you got to do it to everybody. Another thing you can do if you think, and again, if you know that they're doing even one thing, right? Whatever it is, if you know that they're whatever. If you have one thing that you know that they're doing, or you think your gut instinct is like, I think he's reading my emails, or, you know, because folks, computers, they're very easy to hack into. Keyloggers, all that, they're very easy, right? And we don't want all the targets out there to have to go buy new computers and do this. No, this is the time to stand up and, you know, and empower ourselves and put those blocks out there to keep these creepy fuckers out. Okay. One of the things that you can also do, and what I ended up doing once I found out he had even got into my made up emails that I had created, if you need an email address, and I actually recommend this, especially if you're going through a divorce or custody, I recommend this for all of you that even have a little bit of a doubt of whether somebody is following you or tracking, you know, hacking into stuff or whatever else. Go to the library, really simple. Go to the library, create a new Google email account or Gmail, right? Create a new Gmail account at the library. Then only ever look at that email at a library. Never at your home, never, and when on a library computer, not on your computer at the library, on a library computer. There is no way in hell somebody could find out that email. Unless there was like somebody undercover and they maybe were sitting right next to you in a disguise. That's not gonna happen, right? So if you need privacy with your email because you are still going through divorce or custody or whatever it is, or just if you think that somebody's getting into your email, go get an email at the library. That's what I did. You know, there's no way nobody can get in. That way you can talk to your lawyer or talk to your friends or make plans or discuss the things that, you know, you don't want to take any risk of them seeing. I'm just reading the comments. Okay, so one of the questions is how did I stop him from silencing me? Well, he hasn't stopped in his effort to silence me. You know, I've been silent too long. I had so many words for like decades just shoved deep down. And as a writer, that's like, you know, that's like just keeping all that poison within me, is that for decades I wasn't talking the truth. I wasn't standing my ground. I wasn't speaking my truth or experience. So I can't tell you where that rebel part came in me, but there was after all that I had gone through, and especially being stalked and cyber stalked and going through hell and having my entire life turned upside down, I just got to a point where, you know, like the movie Enough with Jennifer Lopez, where she's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. So come on. It's not that I stopped anybody, but come on, because I'm going to win now. You want to fight? I'm going to win. There's no way. There's no way you're going to silence me now. No way. Okay. Here's the thing about, and this goes back to, this is going to be another topic too, about narcissists and their double lives. Now, when I mean double life, this could be, you know, I'm working with one woman who his double life was that he was actually married. That's a huge double life, right? In my case, it was a double life of grooming young girls, young immigrant girls, picking like 4 of them, so grooming all of them so that he could, you know, reel in at least one. It could be just the fact that they're stalking you. That's their double life. And, you know, for example, in my case, he was doing this, and this was incredibly complex. You could tell, like when I spoke to the psychiatrist who not only diagnosed him, but who we both worked with, right? I don't know why I did that. We both worked. We did. We both worked with. And this psychiatrist, psychologist, he was, he was telling me the amount of time this takes for somebody to be so meticulous about following another person and knowing, infiltrating their entire existence, right? That takes time. So there were hours that he's, down in his office spending until probably 2 o'clock in the morning, because I know he used to like to be on the computer until like 2 o'clock in the morning, putting all this stuff together, figuring things out, right? This is going on for years after I left. Who do you think knew about that in his life? I'm guessing nobody. I'm guessing nobody, that everybody's still, because of the smear campaign, whatever, that everybody's still, oh, he's still the victim and poor him and right, all of that. That's a double life. That's a classic double life, is that a narcissist fools everybody, right? When behind closed doors, they are really doing these dirty deeds, right? That's a double life of a narcissist. Yes, Sarah, they spend so much time and energy. It's true. I think narcissists are, I don't know. Do they have blood running through their veins? Are they vampires? Because I swear they seem to have like endless supplies of energy, and to be able to do this, and time and effort, and it's crazy. Like I said, you would think in a normal separation that each person goes their own way and focuses on their own stuff, right? With a narcissist, no. I go and focus on my own stuff and trying to rebuild my life, and the narcissist is like, honey, no, I still need to know everything, see everything, be everything, right? Because they think they own you, because you're not a human being to them. You never were, you never will be. Wow, this is a heavy topic, and we could talk about this for a long time as far as what to do when you're faced. If any of you, and I'll put in my my link to set up a complimentary call with me, if any of you are in this situation where you need, step-by-step help to get you through it, because I'm telling you what, there's two paths you're traveling here, right? There's the logistical path of, okay, he's getting into my email. How do I do that? Okay, now I got to report. Now I got to do this. I got to get a restraining order. I got to da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. All that at the same time that you're already emotionally depleted and exhausted and beaten down because of the relationship itself. So you're trying to heal and recover. It's overwhelming. It's amazing I did not stay in bed all day. It's amazing that I didn't for like that year and a half. I did pretty much stay in my house all day though. Okay, so yes, we could, if you are in such a situation, don't underestimate what they're capable of. That's what I'm going to leave you with today. Trust your gut, your instincts. If you go to get help, if you go to the police, if you go to report, and somebody closes a door on you, either kick it open or go to another door and find somebody who will listen to you, right? Don't stop at the first closed door. I didn't, just kept kicking them down. And yeah, as Beth said, of course, don't take restraining orders seriously. Still, it's something that the last piece of advice I'm going to leave you with is, while you're going through this, document, okay? And report. Document every single thing that happens, right? So you can establish a pattern if it were to get to a instance where you're either in a criminal setting or in the courts, or maybe even use it in the divorce or custody or something like that. Write everything down. Get help for your emotional state, okay? Get help for your emotional state. You need and find ways to advocate for yourself, as I was talking about the other day, as far as your health. to take care of yourself. Like I said, this was the being stalked and cyber stalked and all that entails. That was the kicker for me. That's what almost broke me, right? It was hard enough that I was surviving and recovering from this abusive marriage, but being followed and stalked and cyber stalked and having my life infiltrated and basically stolen from me for a year and a half, almost 2 years, that almost broke me. So I became very good at advocating for my health and finding ways to take care of myself. And again, I will put in my scheduler here, the link, copying and pasting successfully. If you'd like to chat and tell me more what's going on, I'm here for you. And also right after this, in just about 6 minutes, I'm going to put in Chris Godinez's YouTube channel. I'm getting good at this copying. She's going to be talking about you can't heal it if you don't feel it. I was talking about that a couple days ago, as far as going through the healing process, right? You gotta go through it. You gotta feel it. Oh, I gotta hit enter too. That's another thing I gotta do. Her show is at noon. She's fantastic. Speaking of Chris, she and I are we go around the country and speak to small groups about all things narcissist. There is the event schedule. We'll be in Reno on September 14th. If you're in the area, please get a ticket now, because it's only limited to I think it's only limited to 10 or 12 people. So please, if you're in the area. And the reason we keep it small is because we want it to be a safe and intimate, place for you to come and get some support, guidance, love, a hug, all of that good stuff. Okay, big deep breath. Let's all, leave here singing We Are Family. Get that tune in your head, because I don't see how anybody could not like that song. I will be back tomorrow for whatever 10th day this is of my 30-day Facebook Lives. Today was a heavy-duty topic. We didn't have enough time to, obviously, we don't have enough time to talk about any of these topics, to be honest, and all the details. But if you are in a situation where you are being stalked or cyber stalked, if your gut is telling you that you are, you do have power to do something about it, okay? Kick those doors open, get those restraining orders if you need to, document every single thing, speak out, tell people what's going on. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't suffer in silence. That's the worst you could do. And again, if you need, more assistance on that or tips of how to get through it and how to navigate it, I'm here for you, always here for you. Remember, we're on the same road. We're on the same road. I just happen to be further down it. So I have the hindsight and perspective to help those of you who are, still in the darkness or still got a foot stuck in it and trying to get it out. Okay, I will see you all tomorrow, and thank you for being here. Sending love and hope and strength to all of you today, especially those of you who are struggling and are hurting. We're all here for you. Look at all the comments and all these beautiful people here. Okay, we will talk tomorrow. All right, bye, everybody.